Now, the rest of the day's news. Pakistan's Prime Minister has met with Iran's President in Tehran. The meeting between Imran Khan and Hassan Rouhani came as Pakistan hopes to act as a mediator between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Pakistani officials say they want to correct misunderstandings between the two countries. Khan is set to travel to Riyadh on Tuesday. Well, at a press conference a short while ago, Khan emphasised that Pakistan will do what it can to avoid a conflict in the region.
Iran is our neighbor. Ties with Iran go a long way back. Saudi Arabia has been one of our closest friends. Saudi Arabia has helped us when we have needed, when we have been in need. And so the reason for this trip, that we do not want a conflict between Saudi Arabia and Iran. We recognize that it's a complex issue. We recognize that. But we feel that this can be resolved through dialogue.
Live now to Tehran, Al Jazeera's Baig is there. Asad, what came out of these talks then today?
Well, Imran Khan, in that soundbite you just played there, said that Saudi Arabia has helped Pakistan in a time of need. And what he's talking about is the $6 billion loan that Saudi Arabia gave to Pakistan following that investment conference in Saudi Arabia last year that Imran Khan attended, despite world leaders boycotting it over the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Now, what came out was that Imran Khan praised Iran, talked about the strong ties that Iran has with Pakistan, thanked Iran for its support of the Kashmiris, 8 million Kashmiris, but also said that, look, we do not want a conflict in this region, that any conflict will have global impacts. And he said that Pakistan isn't a mediator, they want to be a facilitator. And this is a Pakistani-led initiative, that no one has asked Pakistan to do this. So Imran Khan is doing this off his own back. But President Rouhani also spoke, and he said that any country that thinks it can cause instability in the region without having a response is greatly mistaken. He said that things can be agreed through dialogue, but Yemen is a starting point, that there should be an immediate ceasefire there and some humanitarian assistance. But he also spoke about the missile attack that Iran says the Iranian oil tanker was targeted on Friday. And he said that they have some evidence and they will let that be known shortly. But President Rouhani also mentioned the sanctions and said that the United States should return to the JCPOA 2015 nuclear agreement and the sanctions should be lifted. And that's because Imran Khan said, whilst he was at the United Nations General Assembly, Donald Trump asked him to talk or mediate between Iran and the United States.
Could this initiative, Asad, that the Prime Minister talked about, lead to the possibility of Pakistan hosting talks between Iran and Saudi Arabia?
That's a strong possibility, because Iran has said that they welcome negotiation and dialogue, that good gestures will be met with good gestures. And Pakistan is trying very hard to arrange some sort of mediation, because before Imran Khan set off for New York to the United Nations General Assembly, he made a stopover in Riyadh to meet Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And he's going to be heading there next week again to speak to the Crown Prince. So if the Iranians agree and if Saudi Arabia are keen to have some sort of talks, it could mean that Pakistan facilitate, that arrange or host these talks, which could lead to some sort of stability in the region, because tensions have been high, especially since September 14th, after that attack on the Saudi Aramco facility that the Yemeni Houthi rebels claimed responsibility for, but Saudi Arabia blamed Iran. There's been tensions over oil tankers, attacks on oil tankers, and the buildup of US military in the region. And Pakistan was very clear, Imran Khan was very clear, that they do not want a conflict in the region. He mentioned the instability in Syria, he mentioned the instability in Afghanistan and the lives that Pakistan has lost over the last 50 years and to the war on terror. So Pakistan is very keen, Imran Khan is very keen to make these talks happen, to mediate or facilitate. And if Saudi Arabia and Iran agree, that's a very likely possibility.
Al Jazeera's Baig reporting live there from Tehran. Asad, many thanks. Well, Saudi Arabia and Iran have been at odds for decades. Iran is largely a Shia nation, while Saudi Arabia sees itself as the leading Sunni voice in the region. Iran's rising influence in Iraq after the fall of Saddam Hussein in 2003 is seen as a threat by Riyadh, while Tehran's support for Syria's President Bashar al-Assad has worsened tensions. And in Yemen, Houthi rebels fighting the Saudi-UAE coalition have claimed several attacks inside Saudi Arabia. They're seen as being supported by Iran, which Iran denies. Abdullah Baabood is a visiting professor with the Middle East Institute at the National University of Singapore. He says there are high hopes for this diplomatic effort from Pakistan.
All of us in the region and also at the global level could ill afford to have another conflict in the Gulf. We know how costly this could be, we know how prolonged it could be, and also what effect it could have on the global energy security and the global economy. So I think the two sides seem to be ready for it. Iran has always signaled that it is ready to talk. And we have seen also a change in tone from Saudi Arabia that they are happy to talk. So I think the visit of Imran Khan could be a face-saving arrangement for both sides to talk. And I think all the hopes are actually pinned on this visit that we could avoid another conflict in the region.